Knockout Legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. So today I want to talk about the Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez. Gloves are off. Now, it's kind of a somber affair when both men are facing each other, and we kind of get a bit of insight into both of the characteristics of each fighter. Buatsi, you can see there's a little bit of needle and a little bit of stick that he wants to give Dan, and it's sort of bubbling over because obviously they're not talking now because they know they're fighting each other. And there's a comment that Azeez says that probably bugs Buatsi, where he says, "You've picked me because you see that it's the easiest fight." And it's kind of like, well, I'm going to show you I'm not the easiest fight. I've had to grind to get where I've got to, which is kind of true. He explains his progression. And one thing that's apt to know that both fighters have been to university and have degrees in respective fields. Azeez is in accountancy, and he was an accountant. And obviously, I think late in the day we realised he wanted to box, so he packed it in and went on to box just so he would need to know if, I think is that thing, if, what if kind of thing, the regret if you didn't actually do it, which is actually interesting. So you can see the self-determination there. But some of the things he says to Buatsi, you can tell it bugs Buatsi. But then in the same breath, Buatsi gives a little bit of his backstory, where when he come to the UK from Ghana, he had to fight. He was in school, he's always fighting, come home from school fighting. And then obviously when he went back to Ghana, I think for a holiday, his aunt must have laughed, and she said, "You're a boxer," and she went, "I'm surprised you don't remember." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "When you was a kid, you used to come back from school with one shoe, your tie gone, and a black eye, and your fists were bruised." So he's always been fighting, it's in his blood. So, and he mentions that himself in the Gloves Are Off, that he's always fought. He likes to fight. Both men have a lot in common. They're both very similar. And another thing, what Buatsi kind of states to Dan about what people's perception of him, because he's been through the amateurs and the Olympics, and he's won a medal, that he's just had everything handed to him. He said, "No, I've had to grind to get these things. I've had to fight, I've had to hustle, I've had to get from this gym to that gym, go there, train, and then get on the bus and that." And like all the people, kids that used to fight, the parents used to ask, where are his parents? They wanted to meet his parents. So a lot of the time, maybe his parents were working, which is the case with a lot of inner city kids. And even though the child left on their own, because of the way they've been brought up, they have the sense to do what's required of them to progress and do what it is they love to do and stay out of trouble. And I think with him being able to fight, that helps as well, because a lot of people in the area probably would have given him respect. So it kind of helps steer him out of the trouble. And a lot of people would know that that's the path he's on. So they'd probably encourage him to go and do that as well. Because contrary to popular belief, when it comes to gang culture and inner city life as well, especially as a black youth, not everyone's going to always want you to basically do bad. A lot of people do things out of necessity, not necessarily just choice, but then it becomes necessity. And when you have a gift and you can use it, a lot of people who see what you're doing and want the best for you, because they know you're around the way, they get an affinity for that. They want to push you in the right direction, so they will push you to go and do the right thing. You know what I mean? If you choose to do what they're doing, then that's on you, I suppose, because everything is a choice in life, I suppose. But some people, again, it depends on what your circumstances and what kind of choices you have, and then what you feel you can and can't do. So you end up doing what you think you should or shouldn't do. But that's neither here nor there. But again, he mentions his grind. So both fighters have a journey where they both had to do things basically the hard way, and they've got to where they've got to. So it's actually a great advertising for boxing, and it's a great advertising for young men in general, to show that if you follow your dreams and you work hard and you grind, you will actually get to where you want to get to. Now, both fighters are on the cusp of a world title, and the friends, that's the irony as well, the friends. So even though the friends, you're going to see a proper brutal performance, because he's, as in Azeez's eyes, Buatsi's in his way, and he's the golden boy that's been spoon-fed and given everything that he's ever wanted, and he's only taking his fight because it's an easy fight. And then in Buatsi's mind, Dan's the guy that I've sparred with. He probably knows all my weaknesses, he knows all my flaws and knows my strength, but I know he's determined, so this is not going to be easy night's fight. But he thinks what he thinks, so I'm bringing my game. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show that I need to be the best. I need to be the best Buatsi, because Dan is trouble. On any night for anyone, Dan is trouble. And obviously the records speak for itself. There's 38 combined wins with no losses, 18 in Buatsi's side, and obviously 20 with Dan's side, and obviously Dan's won whatever titles he's won. So you're gonna get a great advertisement for British boxing. So it's gonna be a brutal fight, and I can actually see somebody getting stopped because of the way they both fight. One, they're not gonna give up, so with them not giving up, someone's gonna actually have to basically rendered unconscious to for the fight to stop. And if it does go 12 rounds, someone's getting dropped in them 12 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back and forth with the action, and one gets dropped, gets above the canvas and drops the other one, because it's going to be that type of fight. And because they know each other and they've sparred loads of rounds, it's going to be interesting to see which tactic and which strategy is going to get employed to have the best success in the fight. So anyway, who have you got for this fight? I'm going to go with Dan with this, just because I think the hunger and the age, and obviously I think in a sense, not saying it's his last chance, but he's 35 and this is going to be a hard fight, and he's had quite a few already, so he needs to win this, and he needs to go on to the final basically and go for the title. So the hunger is going to be there with Dan, but you can't really discount Buatsi. So it's going to be, I'd say, I'm going to go with Dan just because of what I've saw of Dan, and I like Dan. Sometimes Buatsi's been a bit negative, but I think he's been allowed to do that because of the way he fights, and whoever he thought maybe he could just get away with that. But he's going to have to bring his A game. So in a sense, it is a 50-50 fight, but I'm still going to hedge my bets with Dan, just because there's that little bit more I think I've seen of Dan. So anyway, leave your thoughts in the comment section, like, comment and subscribe, and tell me who you're going to go with. And that is another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.